Hey, what's up everybody? Video 44 coming at you another video. Alright, so it's almost game time in LA. Games in Charlotte, of course, 4 o'clock, but it's game time for our Lakers. And we got some good news on Vando, man. He's only expected to miss 3 to 4 weeks with a right mid foot sprain. So that is great news as it pertains to what we were expecting. I don't think I worded that correctly, so please forgive me. Let me clarify. He will be reevaluated at that time. He's not going to necessarily be back at that time, but there's a chance he could be back at that time if everything goes absolutely great. But, you know, I expect him to miss about 6 to 8 weeks. I said 2 months. That's what I expect. So, still great news because he doesn't have to go into the knife. He's not expected to miss the entire season. If we make the playoffs, it's a good chance he'll be back for that. So, that's the main news. He's going to be back at some point, Laker fans. So, Alex Caruso. It seems like the Bulls are taking a stance in regards to Alex Caruso. They want a Anunoby-like return for him. And it is raining out here, so I'm going to try to figure out how to step over this without messing up my shoes. But that is what is being said. They want an Anunoby-like return for AC. That is stupid. Why? Because why not just keep AC? Why give up AC if you want AC? That's essentially what you're saying. Anunoby, and what I expect Anunoby to do going forward is exactly what I'm expecting from AC. Like to a T, man. Play defense, hit some shots, be athletic in the open court. Hell, he's better than Anunoby. I'd rather have AC than Anunoby right now. I really would. So, the Bulls are stupid, man. I ain't gonna lie to y'all. The Bulls don't never do nothing right. I don't know what the hell they were thinking, letting anybody know that they were planning on trading Zach LaVine to the Detroit Pistons. That should have been done like a thief in the night. I wouldn't have told 3 people I was trying to do that. The boy went and had surgery right up under their nose. And now they talking about they don't want to let go of a win now piece. When they know damn well they ain't nowhere near winning now, they talking about, he'll bring us back OG Anunoby. OG Anunoby want to play for you? Nobody like OG Anunoby want to play for you. Y'all ain't got a chance in hell of winning anything. Why the hell would anybody like that want to come play for you? This is the problem with Chicago, man. These are the type of teams that we talk about that don't want to change their timeline, but want to demand that everybody else vibe with what it is that they're asking to be done. No one's going to do that. Chicago, nobody's going to do that. Why? Because your timeline, you are betraying by keeping certain things on your team that you refuse to let go of. All you need to be asking for is picks for everything not named Zach LaVine and Lonzo Ball, of whom nobody's going to give you anything for any damn way. Everybody else you should be trading for a rebuild. That's it. Kobe White stays. Patrick Williams stays. Vucevic, gone. DeRozan, gone. Caruso, gone. All 4 picks. That's all y'all should be trying to do. Anything else just makes you look as stupid as you are. Chicago, that's it, man. Fire the GM over there. You don't know what the hell he's doing. Truly. And I mean that. I mean that sincerely. Fire him. Fire him now. If you're the owner of Chicago, do that. And you're welcome. Literally. So that's what I got to say about them. Because that's just stupid, man. I'm not saying the price tag on Caruso shouldn't be something good. I'm just saying that what they're aiming for doesn't make any damn sense. They're essentially saying they give us Alex Caruso for Alex Caruso. What the hell are you talking about? But anyway, that was something I didn't understand very much, and I'm not going to understand anything Chicago does until they start doing what it is I just said. Rebuild or bust. That's the only thing they should be really trying to do, in my humble opinion. Yeah. Also, I'm very curious to see what happens with Tobias Harris, because it has now been reported that Joel Embiid is probably going to miss. What did they say? A good portion of the rest of the season, if not the whole thing, man. He's going to go under the knife for his procedure. And so that should tell you right there that the chances of the Philadelphia 76ers staying afloat in a win-now timeline for the rest of this season isn't very high, in my opinion. That doesn't mean they're just going to fall off a cliff, because, you know, they do have some pretty solid pieces. And they've shown that they can play some pretty competent ball without Joel, to be honest. But as far as them being a win-now team this year, and having an expiring $35 million contract on a win-now player like Tobias Harris, I think the chances of him getting traded are extremely high. I think the chances of them opting to move him make all the sense in the world, man. I really do. I think it makes a lot of sense to move him. So we'll see if they do that. We'll see if they do that. I have my doubts they're gonna do that because, you know, just the same, I heard they may want to resign him. But as far as them being in a position from which to resign him, I don't know if he's gonna stay. You know what I mean? And if he's not, it's just like I said about Bron. If it's not a win now timeline, why are you keeping a win now rental? You know, that's essentially what it is. Unless you have an absolute surefire bet of re-signing the player, you're playing with fire, especially with $35 million worth of salary that you can trade for something pretty solid, because I think Tobias Harris can really help a team. And $35 million worth of contracts can hold some value in this league. If you do a 3-team trade, maybe you can squeeze a first-round pick out of that thing. You know what I mean? So I think the odds of Philadelphia shopping OG, solid, if not high. Solid, if not high, you guys. I really think that it's a reasonable thing to wonder if OG Anunoby is going to be traded over the next 48 hours. Not OG Anunoby, excuse me, Tobias Harris. If I said OG, that's because I'm looking at the hell I'm across the street. That's exactly why I'm distracted. Yeah. But that's my thought process. I just really don't know exactly what they're going to do, but I do know they should consider moving that $35 million worth of player, because it wouldn't hurt to do so, man. I honestly don't think it would be hurtful to their circumstance to just say, you know what, we're not winning this year, but we can certainly make ourselves a pick or two richer if we start moving certain things. And so maybe if we do so, we'll be happy we did. And what can we get for what we have? You know, people are already talking about Tyrese Maxey becoming a free agent very soon. And if LeBron leaves the Lakers, he may take that money. It's a lot of that type of stuff going on. If I'm Philadelphia, I don't want him out. So if I can free up a little extra money with Tobias Harris going out, or if I can bring him a running mate, which more explains the thought, because the money would be free if Tobias would have just walked. But if I can bring something of value to me, maybe I have a higher chance of convincing Tyrese to stick around and play for our squad. So that would be my point of view, to be honest with you. This sucks. This is not what I want to do. I was hoping to be able to avoid all this damn water I'm stepping in right now. But, you know, if I had that point of view, if I'm the Philadelphia 76ers, I think I'd benefit from it. Because at the end of the day, what you don't want to do is more or less lose Tobias for nothing, and have Joel come back to nothing next year. Maxey leaving, you know what I mean? You want to make sure you have as much as you can possibly keep. And right now, Tobias Harris at $35 million expiring, even though it's a little expensive, you could probably get something for that. You could probably swindle a way to get some more secure contracts for that expiring 35. You know, DeJounte Murray is somebody I know the Philadelphia 76ers probably don't need, given the fact that they have Tyrese Maxey. But it's the type of contract that I would want for my expiring contract. You understand what I mean? That way I have it on. It's affordable. It's you know, hey, now that we're talking about it, Caruso for Philadelphia. Tobias Harris headed to Chicago to basically come off the books at $35 million for Chicago as salary relief. I think that makes sense. I think Philadelphia, you can use Caruso at the shooting guard, some backup point guard, some starting point guard if you want to move Maxey to the 2 for whatever strange reason you decide to do that. It's a lot of different things you can do with Caruso, which is why he's so covetable. And given the fact that they want a OG Anunoby-like return, Chicago, that fits all the bills, because it gives them a win-now piece so they can stay in this win-now Delulu space they're in, and gives them the cap space relief that they actually need, for which can help them with what is that they're actually looking at, which is a rebuild. So I think Tobias Harris for Alex Caruso makes all the sense in the world for every bit of both teams. you consider what you're getting in Alex Caruso. If you happen to lose Maxey, you still got AC in theory, because I don't really know his contract, but I think he's still on cap. You would still have AC. And that's a hell of a piece to have. NBA champion. He's a lot better than people think. If you haven't had him on your team, you don't really know how good Alex is, but I do. And so I want people to understand that he's definitely a viable trade for a guy like Tobias Harris, in my very humble but knowledgeable opinion. So yeah, of course there would be more to it than that, because AC isn't as valuable as expiring 35 at Tobias, I don't believe. I don't know if even the salaries match necessarily, but the idea is to just make sure you damn sure bring in something for Tobias Harris, man. That's what you want to do. And I think that you could do a lot worse. You could do a ton worse than AC, that's for sure. A ton worse. So yeah, that's what I'm saying, everybody, man. That is exactly what I'm saying to you guys. What else is going on? Well, yeah, keep an eye on Tobias for sure, man. That's the one person that I would be very surprised to see not traded. Very surprised. I just think it's obvious to move that 35 after Joel goes down with that injury, man. That's obvious. That's a no-brainer. I ain't really did too much thinking about guys like Miles Bridges, but I'd imagine Miles Bridges' foot, is an expiring contract, so you can kind of do the same thing with him that you would do with Tobias if you're the Charlotte Hornets. I don't think you're in the same position, because you don't as much as need to be concerned about win now necessarily, nor do you need to be bringing in any small forwards in the stead of Miles Bridges, because you got Brandon Miller now stepping into his own, looking like a real dude right now. So I like Brandon Miller going forward. They got a bunch of guards that they probably need to develop anyway, so they're much less of a win now team than Philadelphia or Chicago believes itself to be. I don't think Charlotte is as delusional about their win now status or lack thereof as maybe Chicago may be at the moment, but nevertheless, they can bring in multi-year contract instead of letting that walk off the books. And for a team like Charlotte, who probably has a hard time getting free agents, it might be in their best interest to try to land a multi-year contract on somebody who's already established in some way or whatever. Maybe a young player who's just signed a big contract. I don't know who that would be, but that kind of fits the bill of what I would think they would want. Charlotte, it's kind of tough because I don't really know what Charlotte would need. I think more so than they just probably just need to stay in a space where the timeline is tomorrow, but the need for picks probably isn't as necessary as maybe it would be for another team, because they keep having young players that they don't develop properly or can't give roles to. So I don't think they necessarily need to be thinking about drafting picks that they receive, but more so trading it for stuff that maybe could change their timeline and give LaMelo Ball and Brandon Miller maybe a sooner timeline. Maybe they want to become a team that's a little closer to winning than maybe they find themselves being right now. That seems to make a little more sense to me than continuing to draft guards and forwards that are going to likely play behind LaMelo and Miller any damn way. That's a curious situation to me in their situation, because I really don't know which, like if I were to take over the Charlotte Hornets, I know what I want to get rid of, but I'm not necessarily sure what I can bring in that would want to stay. And that's why maybe re-signing Miles Bridges makes a lot of sense for them. I know they were going to offer him max money a couple years back before everything went left in his personal world. The way he's been playing, he looked like the same player. To be honest with you, he hasn't fallen off a bit. But what I can also argue is he hasn't affected any winning either. In theory, because again, are we sure they want to win? I'm not sure. They were really trying to win in Charlotte. So maybe they're still tanking for that one last opportunity at a first overall pick. I don't know. But if I'm Charlotte, I probably kind of want a young guy on a multi-year contract. Young guy like 23, 22 years old on like $100 million 4-year deal, something like that. That's the kind of pieces that I think Charlotte can use. Somebody that they would otherwise want to court and sign that they likely can't sign because they're in Charlotte and nobody wants to come there. Get that player and bring him to you and make him a power forward maybe, or I don't know. They got everything. It's just not quite good enough. So maybe you move on from PJ Washington. Maybe you move on from Williams. Maybe you package those two and get yourself another young player of a different tone, a different way of going. I don't know. But like Charlotte, they're just so far away from winning, and they have so much money wrapped up in LaMelo Ball, and they're going to have to pay Brandon Miller probably the same contract. So you have to wonder if it really makes sense for them to stay on the path they're on. That's the question I have for them. If I already paid LaMelo $250, and I know I got to pay Brandon Miller probably $250 3 years from now, is that the core? Can I win with those two in the future when they fully develop? Or am I destined to end up moving on from them? And if I do, why would I believe I can get any better in free agency in any way, shape, or form? So beggars can't be choosy, and unfortunately, Charlotte's one of those teams that really is a beggar, man, when it comes to free agents. People they can bring in that will want to stay there, guys that they draft panning out, and it's probably one of the most difficult places to be in, you know, and in regards to trying to GM there and trying to make yourself a viable basketball team. You got to make the culture something that it isn't right now, so that people will be excited about being there. And so that's really what it is. I think Brandon Miller's a step in the right direction. LaMelo Ball obviously is. I don't know. If I'm being honest with you, I don't know if I'd want LaMelo on a $260 million contract if I'm them, though. I don't know that I would. I like LaMelo as much as the next guy, but I just don't think that they can build a champion around LaMelo Ball at that price. I don't think so. Now, if they had him shave that off about 60 mil, then you can start dreaming of actually someday doing something special. But right now, or over the next 3 years, unless they get lucky in the draft and get another super duper star, I don't see no path to LaMelo getting a championship there. No path. Even with Brandon Miller fully planning out and turning into what I think he's going to turn into, how do they get the rest of the pieces? How do they overcome the rest of the Eastern Conference? It just flat out has more upside. So Charlotte is a curious bunch. We're about to see them in an hour. And I don't dislike that duo. But just the same, I don't know if that's the duo of choice if I got to spend $500 million on two players. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if that's the way I'm going. I could totally see LaMelo probably being moved somewhere in the future. If not in the near future, further down the road. He won't finish his career in Charlotte. I doubt it. I doubt it. Brandon Miller's one of those players you're probably going to keep regardless because he's that quintessential forward with size and length and scoring and shooting and all that. You're going to keep him no matter what. But LaMelo, I'm not really sure. I think he's as good as people say he is. I believe in him. But there, at that price, under those circumstances, probably not. So these are things that I'm thinking about, man. It's time to go on inside. Hope everybody enjoyed their day. I'm certainly going to take these wet shoes and socks off and enjoy the Lakers, man. That's pretty much what I'm going to do. So I appreciate everybody for watching video 44. I'm out.